So I actually don't know what's the best way to start a YouTube video so that you don't directly click on the next one. So let's make a deal. I'm going to tell you exactly what this video is about. If you like it, you can continue watching. And if you don't, or you don't like my accent or the tone of my voice, you can just skip to the next video. So I've been programming for a while right now. I have worked as a software engineer, both in part-time and in full-time. I've been a full-stack developer at a startup. I've helped build a content management system that is used by most public German outlets. I've even developed a software used for a CNC machine at a traditional hardware company. And since almost 2 years, I have been working as an IT consultant here in Hamburg, Germany, helping companies achieve their vision through software. And one thing that I have noticed is that no matter in which setting you are programming, there are a few things that I have figured out that have tremendously impacted me. And I simply wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for these harsh truths. So in this video, I want to share with you the 9 lessons that have drastically improved my life as a software engineer that I wish that someone told me earlier. So I have grouped these in 3 groups of 3 code-related lessons. So what's the most efficient way of approaching programming on a technical level? Then we have career-related lessons, how to steer your career into the right direction and advance quickly in your career as a software engineer. And since programming is a very peculiar profession, I decided to dedicate the last category to how to live a fulfilling and high-quality life as a software engineer. As always, there are going to be timestamps all around the video if you want to skip around. So let's get started with the first one. Code lesson number 3. Direction over perfection. So when I was just getting started programming, I have focused too much on perfection. I have tried to check every item on my to-do list, implement every feature that the users wanted, and also have a super clean, perfect code. One thing that I realized pretty fast was that my time and energy are very limited. It's basically impossible to achieve everything that I wanted to achieve. So prioritization has become not only a nice to have, but really a key part of my daily routine. Prioritize the things that have the most impact and also the things that bring you closer to your goal. So obviously for that, it's crucial to have a clear goal or vision in your mind and try to work your way back from it. So this includes not only prioritizing the tickets or tasks that you have on your plate, but really ask why you want to achieve something, what is the real problem that you are trying to achieve, and if this solution is actually the best use of your time. I think the moment you start asking the right question is also the moment that you start making a progress that is non-linear. Lesson number 2, work on the code and not in the code. Coding or programming is a super satisfying activity. It's very fulfilling and it's honestly just fun. But what I find most interesting about programming is that it's a skill multiplier. What I mean by that is that once you combine programming with other skills or interests of yours, it just unlocks a whole new level. For example, if you combine programming with entrepreneurship, then suddenly we're talking about software as a service and other software-based businesses, which are obviously not to be compared with any type of businesses. If you combine programming with art, then you can also unlock new levels of self-expression, things that would just be unimaginable without programming. So that's why I believe that it's important not to get too absorbed by the code and try to zoom out once in a while and make broader connections. Try to get creative outside of the code, basically by keeping the code as simple as possible and get creative on other aspects. Coding lesson number 3. Dominate a niche. So if you think about it, every programmer is kind of working inside their own bubble and their own niche. There are the technologies that they have experience in and the kind of projects or the kind of environments that they're used to, maybe web development or mobile apps or embedded programming. So we are all inside our own bubbles. And I think it's really important to be aware of that fact, but also to intentionally choose a niche for yourself that you actually care about, and especially a niche that you actually enjoy. So for me, that was front-end development and React.js, JavaScript and TypeScript, basically web development. And that's something that I personally just enjoy doing a lot. I enjoy building web apps, so that's what I did for quite a while. And I have just put all my efforts inside this one niche and tried, at least to the best of my ability, to become an expert inside this niche. This has been super impactful. We're going to come to the career related lessons right away, but inside my career, because Having a very specific skill set gives you the ability to come somewhere and just say, okay, I know my stuff here, and this is my area of expertise. And if someone asks you a question, or if there's any problem related to that set of technologies within the company where you're working, you can directly jump in on the spot. So choosing a niche that you actually like is super important, because it's also going to help you put in all these 10,000 hours that are required to actually unlock any skill and get really productive in it. So with that said, let's move on to the next category, and that is career lessons. Career lesson number 3, the value of flexibility. If you are working as a software engineer in a business context, which means not in academia or like software inside their own bubble, but really software within a business, then being flexible is one of the most important things. Sooner or later, you're going to realize that requirements are actually one of the things that change a lot throughout time, and that every requirement is based on a set of assumptions. And every time that we are building a new feature and making a new release and getting more feedback from the users, that is the time where we actually test these assumptions, and that's what actually feeds into the next set of requirements. So try to always keep an eye on your software and make sure that your code is always flexible. That includes trying to keep the code as simple as possible. Basically, just a normal code that reads from top to bottom, where the developers can easily read the code and understand it on the spot and fix the problems right away if there is a bug, or basically change the functionality. If you try to scale too fast, for example, by using microservices, which just make it super hard to make changes in your system, I actually made a complete video on microservices and especially why you should probably not use them. Or if you try to use libraries or build your in-house libraries, and every change needs to redeploy a library dependency and then installing it again, this is going to slow you down a lot. So try to keep your code as simple as possible and try to not take the requirements, especially the business requirements, too seriously, because they're going to change no matter what. After all, we are dealing with software, and software is something that is flexible by design, and that's why it's called software and not hardware. Career lesson number 2, don't settle. The IT sector is very broad. Working in IT can look drastically different from one person to another. You can have a job where you spend all of your time programming. On the other extreme, you can spend your whole day in meetings. You can work from home or work in an office. There are so many combinations. So I personally don't see a reason why you should stick for a job that you actually don't enjoy doing. It doesn't matter if it's just your colleagues that you don't like, or if it's the programming language that you don't enjoy programming in every day. I think every person should choose a career that truly fulfills them, so there's literally no reason for settling down. Career lesson number 1, learn to sell yourself. One of the hardest realizations that I had to face is that programming as a skill is not everything. You actually have other skills, or you have to master other skills if you want to advance in your career. The truth is, you have to be able to present yourself in the best way possible, because no one else is going to do it for you. Not another person and not your CV. You have to be not only able to communicate clearly and concisely, but also be able to present yourself in a way that reflects your technical skills and knowledge. Because no matter how good you are at programming, if people don't see it, and especially these are going to be non-technical people, then it doesn't matter. Communicating or talking is, to be honest, something that I am still struggling with a lot. I did improve quite a bit since I started this YouTube channel, because it really forces me to talk for so long, which is something that I normally don't do. I still struggle personally also with keeping eye contact, which is, I think, something that a lot of programmers do. When we talk, we just look somewhere else. It is certainly not an easy thing to do, but I think it does pay off. So it's really worth investing in learning how to communicate, but also how to present yourself. And strangely enough, these soft skills are one of the biggest levers that you can use to steer your career in the right direction and also make a lot of progress very fast. So now let's move on to life lessons for programmers. Lesson number 3, have fun coding. As a software engineer, you're going to spend a lot of your time on the keyboard writing code, so you might as well have a lot of fun doing it. If you have watched my previous videos, you know that one of the sentences that I repeat a lot is developer experience matters a lot. And right now I'm not going to talk on the effect of developer experience on the product or the organization or blah blah blah, but really just on yourself. Just make it enjoyable for yourself. In my opinion, having fun is the most energizing thing ever. So when I'm having fun programming, I just make a lot of progress. So try not to lose track of why you started programming in the first place. Lesson number 2. Coding isn't everything. The truth about coding or being successful as a software engineer is that you actually don't need to sacrifice a lot of stuff to become successful. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to code 24/7 for 4 years to be successful or anything like that. I think you can learn programming and also advance in your career as well as having a good life next to it. Coding isn't everything in life. It's very important to not have programming as your hobbies as well. If you are working the whole day as a developer, then do something else after work and not spend your whole day next to the computer. There's this beautiful graphic that I'm stealing from fellow YouTuber Ali Abdaal, and it shows the different categories or things that you can invest in your life. There's family, friends, romance, spiritual, mental, physical health, growth, money, and mission. Programming doesn't need to fulfill you in all these areas. You can actually invest in other things at the same time in your life. Now let's move on to the last lesson, which is the most important one in my opinion. Lesson number 1, fight the odds. So I do believe that everything is doable, and even if the deck is stacked against you, I believe that you can still make it. Because that was also my own story. I did go against the flow. I have decided to move to a new country, Germany, where I don't know the language, to study and work, and still somehow managed to make it work. Even when I just started university in the first orientation week, one of the oldest students told us that it's basically impossible to finish the program in 6 semesters, which was the official time. And somehow I have managed to finish it in 3 years, although I was also working half-time next to studying. And to be honest, in all the jobs that I have had, I was almost always the youngest person in the office. So that's why I really believe that once you really believe in something, you should not look at statistics and let them scare you, because most of the people who try to do something are not as motivated as you are. So if you have a clear motivation, if you really want something, you should just try it. Worst thing that can happen is that you just fail. So fear of failure is something that I personally struggle with a lot. Now I do wish that there was a magic pill that you can just take and get rid of the fear of failure, but there are actually 2 questions that have helped me a lot in that area. First one is, if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I do? This one is really useful to help you figure out what you actually want to do in life or to find your own purpose. The second one is, if I failed, how would I recover? And this one is perfect to just help you get rid of the fear of making the first step. So I hope that you have found these lessons helpful. I would actually love to hear what you have to say about this. Do these lessons apply to you, or do you have some others that you would love to add to the list? Feel free to write a comment down in the video. I do answer most of the comments, so see you down there. And if you're new to my channel, please make sure to check out my other videos. I do put quite a bit of effort into making them. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video. Ciao.